and I'm a Somatic Movement Educator. So I do research in movement and how it applies to people if they are dealing with aging issues or mental health issues. So the doctor said I wouldn't, survive past my teens.
Okay.
Yeah. So of course they said you shouldn't engage in anything strenuous. And when you tell a boy, a young boy, you can't do this, of course they will try to make everything happen. Being like a motherly figure, right, held my hand, pulled me to a corner with a lot of engineers, right? They were all master degrees holder, and she said, "Do you not want to be like them? These are master degrees holder, I say, I think masters is great, but I don't want to be like them. I want to be like me." Never downplay the effects of dance. It's not what you do, it's how you do something that makes a difference. Why is it when this person go to this dance class don't feel so amazing, but when this person goes to another dance class it's like, woohoo! Something is there. Yes. So just to deal with the physio aspect and discounting, the psychological ones, and then or meeting a psychologist and not accounting for the physical aspects, this becomes a problem. We need to understand how they come together, and that's where somatic work is. My religious background, my influences, and me being in a space where I was in a mission school, when I was in my secondary school, when I was enrolling, I stood in, step into the school, walk into the general office. There's this huge tag right outside the office. It says, "We come to learn, we leave to serve." Learning and service became a very important thing. Learning tells you to always be humble, that you don't know it all, there's always something more, right? But to serve is also, again, humbling yourself to offer what you could, that you are never, above anyone else. So learning that humility and understanding, and finding that sincerity in the work means we need to be first, very attuned with ourselves. If you're not authentic with yourself, you start to lose yourself. Then the ego eats into you, right? Then the pride is no longer based on the esteem of the work that you are doing, but could be, run by a bigger thing called ego, and you don't see it. And then the way you speak, how you behave start to be more like, a bit larger than life. Yeah, I always believe that, in this work, whether you're doing therapeutic work or similar to therapy work, we have to pay attention to this thing about the ego again. Some people say, "Oh, Vince, you're the healer." I say, no, let's pause there. I'm not the healer. People heal on their own. It's like when we get a cut, the body heals on its own. And if anything, the bigger being heals you, right? Whether it's your God, whether it's, whatever you believe in. But I say, I am just a messenger, a vessel, right? Equipped with certain things. I show you the way, just like if you are going to a terrain, climbing mountains, right? I'm your tour guide, right? I show you the map, I tell you this is the way to go, and if you don't know how to go, I'll go with you, right? But to claim that you're the healer might sometimes sounds a little bit too much of a, you know. When it comes to science and spirituality, it is now a hot topic in conferences. There are presenters that are merging spirituality and movement and dance and whatnot. Our local population here, they're still quite conservative because spirituality can be very vague. So I don't talk so much about religion per se, nor spirituality in my work. I talk about science. Yeah, I talk about brain and body and how it applies in our daily lives. So in the work itself, there is a word that comes up which is quite similar to spirituality, but used in a more social sense. It's called transpersonal. Transpersonal is kind of like where 2 of us, 4 of us, 8 of us, 10 of us, a society of people coming together and the world and how you perceive, and then you draw your inspiration, your values, your beliefs, your principles, and then you decide who you want to be, right? Your identity. So that is more of the transpersonal work when we are attuned with that. According to the doctors, they say on the report, because they can't find my hole now. They put me on a machine, turn me upside down, turn me any direction, putting all the echogram and all that, and say, I can't find your hole, Vincent. So I've always been fascinated with how my heart sounds. So instead of going to, you know, if you listen to my heart, it has a even now, you know, once in a while I listen to it to see what's the I still hear that. Based on sound, if there is still the going on, what does it tell you then?
It's not normal.
That perhaps the hole is still there. However, on the medical report it says spontaneously closed. And she passed with a brain tumor. And that changed the whole, you know, like, wow, what is Vincent Yong going to do now without my mother? You know, considering that my parents had a divorce when I was 11. So all the mental, emotional, physical, my life challenges, you know. So the most important person in my life is gone. So Vincent, what am I going to do now? And before I knew it, I was lecturing at LaSalle, which is more than 10 over years after I graduated. And I went back to the space to lecture. I started teaching. Then I started going back to the fitness, you know. Then I started, you know, doing education. Yeah, and it was quite a mix. You know, so because my mom was not in the picture, I started working for 6-7 years non-stop every day. I was doing adjunct work, but at the same time it was fulfilled with my fitness work, because I was, as a fitness instructor, right, as a group fitness instructor, I was teaching fitness classes. You know,
You didn't do dance?
Yeah, and I was doing, I was dancing actually, but not as, I was only taking on projects that I find interesting to do. And then I went into coaching work as well.
Coaching work in the movement?
In neuro-linguistic programming.
NLP?
Yes, I want to be also a beacon of light for my students. So as I'm teaching, I can impart something and help them to see things from a bigger picture. Not like before.
Do you do dance performances?
The last performance I did was when I was in US. That was 2016. That was 2016.
2016, so 8 years back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only dance I do once in a while, like very rarely, is the social dances, like, you know, salsa and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it gives me the little things I want.
Yes.
But it's different from the artistic approach, you
I
know.
understand.
Yeah. So if, you know, but when I teach classes once in a while, I move with my students, but it's not on the high intensity. Currently now I see people on a one-on-one level dealing with their personal problem, which is mental health related or aging related. Like I say, these two things, these two areas are the main focus for me right now. And I see a lot of seniors doing education work on preventing dementia using, applied somatics, talking about how to prevent falling, because, when you age, your balance is not so good, right? And currently a lot of falling programs in the market is all about training your core, training your back muscles. But when you actually fall, it doesn't matter how strong or how weak you are, you fall. Bodybuilder can fall. But do you fall clumsy, or do you fall in a way that you know how to break fall? I think word of mouth is very important.
So word of mouth is
Just keep doing the good work and the work will speak for itself.
because people experience transformations.
Yes. For example, a current recent one where this person was working, with a physio for 2 years and wasn't able to squat. She's a stroke survivor.
I see.
And during the first session with me, she squat down and came up. I think that speaks for itself.
I see.
Or when somebody who has been grieving for the past 10 years and still hasn't found, any road to come out from her maze, right? And today, if you were to look at her now, she's a changed person.
I see.
Why do we create art? How are we creating art? Is it for the sake of just to show off your aesthetics? Or does it actually have a functional, take to it? So I always believe that if something is not functional, why are we doing this? So same thing when I was doing my dance, it has to be therapeutic. But how? Then you have to know the body a little better. I want to know how movement can impact a person, which of course includes the physical, the mental, the emotional, as well as the social spaces. And in current medical setting, they call it the biopsychosocial aspects, which is an interrelationship between where we are in this space, right? How our body, our bio is responding, right? And of course, our mind, the psycho. So take, for example, somebody have really, really bad posture. So they visit somebody who is in the physio, scene, and they get corrected in their posture. So 2 weeks later, right? And then I go get fixed again. How do you know that the posture is not affected by somebody's emotion? Maybe they're feeling depressed.
I see.
So depression can change the way your body behaves. So what is the cause now? Is it because this person has got childhood trauma, right? Or somebody said something to this person that they have lost their esteem. So just to deal with the physio aspect and discounting, the psychological ones, and then or meeting a psychologist and not accounting for the physical aspects, this becomes a problem. We need to understand how they come together, and that's where somatic work is. Like I say, I don't know, it could be we come to learn, we live to serve, could be my hole in the heart, that I've limited time, that I better do something purposeful and meaningful. Could be my mother's passing, maybe I want to do something good for the people that are still surviving. All these differences of the many things that I should do is not as important as you telling yourself, I assume this responsibility. But it's more important that you assume that responsibility to say, today, I will do good work. Based on who I am, based on what I have experienced.
Why do you say that? I'm just trying to understand.
I think conviction is something that is not often seen, especially now, People just do work that can, pass. Right? But to really do good work, pass is not good enough. You got to excel. You got to excel so that you become that person to go to when somebody really needs a problem to be solved. I'd rather be that person.